Hello, and a very warm welcome or welcome back to my little cottage garden in Cambridgeshire in the UK. Last Saturday was a wet day, so I didn't get much done in the garden. But I must say I was happy for the rain because for the first time in a long time it rained long enough for the garden to get a good soak. It was also quite chilly. The temperature on Saturday night went down to 3 Celsius or 37 Fahrenheit, which is pretty close to a frost. But once the sun came out on Sunday morning, it warmed back up again, and Sunday was mostly a beautiful sunny day. I was gifted this azalea for Mother's Day this year, and it didn't come with a care label, so I don't know if it's hardy. I'm not sure whether to repot it and take it indoors over winter or leave it outside. My instinct says to leave it outside, but I'll be sad if it turns out to be frost sensitive and I lose it. So if you have experience with potted azaleas, I would be interested to hear what you think. I've taken cuttings off all my pelargoniums now and put them inside for the winter. There are different ways to overwinter pelargoniums. Taking cuttings is one way. I could also dig them up, cut off all the foliage, wrap them in old newspaper, and put them in the shed. But apparently, if the shed gets a bit damp over winter, they could still rot. So bringing cuttings inside is probably more likely to be successful. It's my first time trying this, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. The trees and shrubs I ordered have arrived, which is good timing because the soil is soft and moist after the rain. So I'm excited to plant these out today. There are two raspberry bushes, a blackcurrant, two mini conference pears, a cherry called Sylvia, and a fig tree. This variety is Brunswick. The raspberries are going in the retaining wall bed. They like a sunny spot with free draining soil, so they should do well here. I haven't grown raspberries before, but I read something about tying in the canes, so I'll have to figure that out over winter and be ready to tie them in when they start sprouting in the springtime. The conference pears and the blackcurrant are all going in the bed that I'm converting to a fruit guild. This space is only 3 square meters and there's already a young plum tree here and a mature rhubarb. So I'm packing quite a lot of plants into a very small space. But these pear trees will only grow to about 2 meters tall. They're more like large shrubs than trees, and it'll take 3 to 5 years for them to get to that height. So there's plenty of time to see how the plants are getting along together and move them if I have to. They're only about 1.5 feet tall at the moment. I like to put the falling leaves to good use in the garden by using them as mulch in my beds. Now to plant the blackcurrant. And all done. I also pulled up some strawberry runners to add as a ground cover in the fruit guild bed. These strawberries are so vigorous, they spread really easily, and I'm constantly pulling them up and moving them or giving them away. So might as well make good use of them. It'll be interesting to see how they do in the fruit guild, which is only in full sun from April to September and tends to be a bit shadier during the autumn and winter months. My guess is that the strawberries will still spread vigorously, but they might not fruit as prolifically as they do in the sunnier parts of the garden. Which is fine because I really just want them to cover the bare earth. I've just noticed that there's some bee balm growing here from some seeds I threw here earlier in the year. So I'm pleased about that as well. I plan to add a couple more plants in this area in the spring, perhaps some broad beans or comfrey or chives or a mix of all of these. So fingers crossed that everything does well and that my fruit guild is looking good next year. The fig tree is going in a pot near the house. The care information recommends to plant it by a south-facing wall which will reflect some extra warmth because this is a warm climate tree. It should do okay here, at least for a couple of years until it outgrows this pot. I would prefer to be planting it in a pot that isn't made of plastic, but that's a topic for another day. And for the cherry, I haven't quite decided where I'm going to put it, so I'm just popping it in this pot for the meantime. There should be enough space here for its roots to expand and get stronger over winter as long as I water it regularly, and then I can figure out where to put it in the spring. Last job for the weekend was to pot up some winter violas that I picked up. These will go outside my back door, so I have something pretty to look at each time I come outside. It just occurred to me as I was potting these up that I didn't actually check if they were winter hardy violas. I picked them up in the supermarket and I just assumed that they would last the winter. But then, in any case, they only cost me £1.50 for the lot. So, even if they only bloom from now through till the end of November, I would have gotten more than my money's worth. So, after a slow start, it turned out to be a very productive and enjoyable weekend in the garden. That's it for today. Thank you so much for visiting with me in the garden this weekend. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I got up to, and I'd love to hear what's happening in your garden as the season changes. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up or drop a comment, and I hope you have a really wonderful week ahead.